righty. Let's wait a little bit to get some people on. Come on. Trying to get my phone started. Alrighty. Let's see some people that's coming up. Alrighty. It's going to take just a couple minutes to get some people on here and get started. All right. What's up? What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I'm so glad that you guys have decided to join us tonight. Super excited that everybody is here. What's up, Paul? Let me go in my... How has everybody's week been so far? Let me know. What's up? All right. What's up? Hello, everybody. Hello. All righty. Hope you guys got some coffee in hand, water, whatever you do. Ready to join us tonight. We have a special guest, Judy. She is one of our iTrackBites users, and she is so graciously decided, I reached out to her, and she is going to share her journey with us tonight. I know we get super excited to hear different people's journeys and what they're doing and how they're making the plan work for them, what plan they're on. And so I figured it was a great time to get somebody on here. We only have, like I said, we're in the last 90 days of the year. So I figured the most inspiration we can get is from different users like you that have been successful on their journeys, have been successful with iTrackBites. Peep the new wear, iTrackBites, stop paying to lose weight. Super excited. If you guys don't know already, Ambassador link is started. My camera's getting a little foggy. Ambassador link is open now with iTrackBites. Go to their iTrackBites Instagram page, to their link, and you can fill out to become a brand ambassador. So they will be accepting applications now through, I don't know when exactly, but get yourself one of these. All right, guys, so without further ado, I ramble a lot. My name is Jordan Clyde from Cloud's Daily Life. Thank you so much for coming out tonight with us, guys. I totally appreciate it. So we are going to go ahead and get started with Judy, and I will kind of be in the bottom right-hand corner like I always am. And yeah, let's get this going. Let me try to, I always think about how I'm doing this. Hold on. Start you. Hello.
Hi.
All right, let me see how I do this. Okay. Oh, nope. Where'd I go? Oh, hold on. Okay. Let's just do that. What's up, Judy?
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you? So glad. Tongue-tied today. So glad to have you on with us tonight. We are super excited that you were able to come out with us tonight and kind of give us a little bit of insight on your story and your journey with iTrackBites. I know that you were super excited to do it. You've been crushing it on the weight loss journey, and we all need to know your secrets, your tips, anything and everything on how you have made carb conscience work for you. So why don't you go ahead and just let us know who you are?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on here. I think it's really awesome. I really appreciate it. I am Judy, of course. I just turned 30. I have 2 little babies. I have a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I'm a stay-at-home mom. I guess just kind of where I started, we had some friends come over, and my mom had posted some pictures, and one of which was like the picture. It's the one like, nope, we need to make a change. Something needs to happen. And I literally started that day. I saw it that next morning. And you just start with everything in your pantry. This, it doesn't have to be complicated. Doesn't have to be hard. It's just points guiding portion. That's really it. My first year had some challenges. I was also battling some chronic digestion system issues that we knew nothing about. I started doing points, and I lost about 77 pounds my first year. That was with all of that. That wasn't, working out. That was simply just iTrackBites. And then we figured out, kind of what was going on, and that I went up 20 pounds during finding all that out. And then when I found the cure, or at least when I was able to heal everything, I started going back down again. So now I'm 85 and a half pounds down. I have about 11 pounds to go. So it's pretty exciting.
That is so awesome, honestly. So talk to us a little bit. I'm going to stop right there. Talk to us about a little bit about your gut health, like with what was going on.
So it started with, I would get a little bit nauseous after I ate. And then it just kind of progressed. It got to where I would have severe cramping. I'd be like in the fetal position. I almost couldn't go out just because I wasn't sure what it was that was making everything go crazy. Long story short, it ended up being leaky gut syndrome.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, but everything's fine. Like I said, I was able to do pro and prebiotics and fish oil, actually, and it completely healed everything.
Awesome.
Yeah. Part of that, I had to cut gluten out. My doctor thought that that's what was doing it. So I did that. I still counted points. I still did the whole entire, the whole shebang. And eventually, we did find something that would help me. And that also, just continuing on, no matter what you're going through, eventually your body's going to reward you. That's what I get most from it.
So do you eat gluten now, or did you kind of still, you brought it back into your diet?
Yep. I can have it now. I try not to eat it every single meal, but I can have it, and I don't have any more reactions. I still take the vitamins and the fish oil.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So how old were you when you seen that unflattering photo that everybody has?
That was 2.5 years ago. So I was about 20, we'll say almost 28 or 27 and a half-ish, around there. My son just started school this year. So he was even smaller, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, I have my babies, and of course I'm here with the snacks all day long.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge to learn. But one of the best tips that I ever learned, my mom actually was 30 pounds ahead of me. She had lost 30 pounds on her own by the time that I started.
Yeah.
She did iTrackBites. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
So I had tips from her, and to get myself on a schedule and only eat on that schedule has been the most beneficial thing ever. Yeah.
Okay, so you said that you started right then and right there when you seen it. So what was your biggest, I guess my question is, even from back before this, so you're my age, you're 30, has there been a time in your life that you were, when did you start noticing that you were heavy, but then also, when did the weight gain start? You know what I mean? Were you kind of a heavier child growing up, or et cetera? What with that story?
So, as far as any of my weight conscious life, I don't know, sixth grade is when I think I really started to notice. I think so I noticed around there, freshman year, I was in a 14, and then I went up to a 16 by the time I graduated, met my husband, and I went up to an 18, my son, and I went up to a 20, and I just hung around that 20 even after my daughter. So I was actually pushing probably a size 22 by the time that I actually started.
Okay, yeah. So what exactly, I guess my next question is, what exactly made you, well, number one, I'm guessing that your mom did iTrackBites. So have you done Weight Watchers in the past? Were you kind of knowing on what the point system is, yada, yada, that, you know what I mean? How'd your mom find us?
My mom, I did Weight Watchers a lot of times. The most significant one I remember is my freshman year, which got me to the 14. But, I was a kid and it didn't stick, and, here we are. But I tried all of the different diets.
Yeah.
And I see my mom, and I mean, she's still eating like fried, like chicken fried steak, gravy, and green beans with mashed potatoes. And I'm like, yes, please. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this is just so real life. It's so balanced. You don't have to cut anything out. I mean, for my birthday, I had an extra piece of German chocolate cake and a Mai Tai, and I still lost 2.2 pounds that week.
Yeah.
You know, so
it's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just, it's so nice to not have to feel deprived or anything like that. You just live your life.
Do you remember when you were a freshman in high school, what the points plan was for Weight Watchers back then? Was it more like core, or was it like a sliding scale, or?
To be honest, I don't remember what the name was, but I remember everything had points, even the orange, you know.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of our Conquer Cravings on here, the kind of the original. I always ask that because I remember my first time doing Weight Watchers, I was 16, 17, and at that time Points Plus first came out, and like I still to this day have all of my Points Plus books here from following the conscience. But like every now and then, it's so funny. It's always on our app and all that stuff, but I'm still finding myself, I reach for that book that's in my drawer in the kitchen, and I'm like skimming through it to be like, okay, what is it again? You know, this and that. So what made you, with all the different plans, what was your mom doing Carb Conscience? Was that the one that she was doing kind of before you started?
Yes. Yep. She was doing Carb Conscious. And she said, because I asked her, I said, is it similar to that first one that I had tried in high school? And she says, kind of, but your fruits and vegetables are, 0 points per serving.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so that encourages you to fill up a little bit more on those. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really just kind of it. I mean, there just wasn't anything off the table. I was looking for an actual life change, not just a quick fix diet.
Yeah. Not like eating all the unsweetened applesauce to get the 0 points. I mean, been there, done that one now. So, so let's focus on, so you're 28, you're starting Carb Conscience. What got you through the first week? Like, of course, the first week is always challenging for everybody. Really, like the first month, to be perfectly honest. But like, let's start with that first week. Like, what was that like for you, especially with having little ones?
Yeah, with having little ones, my habits were to I could just go and grab a snack whenever I wanted to. I could go and get a fruit snack or, whatever that looked like, whatever I wanted. And there was quite a few times where I find myself in the cabinet opening something and I'm like, wait, we're not going to do this,
Yeah.
And I just put it down, but I had to catch myself in the act and, just stop that habit, really. That's all that was.
Yeah.
It did get easier. I would say probably 3 weeks into it, because then you're starting to really know the app. You're knowing your favorites. You've got a lot of your favorite recipes in there. And it makes it much quicker to find things. So I think that's when it started to even out and okay, we can do this.
We can do this. So when was the first time? I mean, like, so let's talk about like your first month on plan. What was the results like for you? I know everybody's different. Some people are heavier than others, but you know what I mean, which that fluctuates for everybody. But I'm guessing that's, when you do your first, not like, yes, when you do the first weigh-in for the first week, it's normally water weight and you're like, yes, that's the number I love to see. It's working. But after that month, it's kind of like, okay, I've done it a whole 4 weeks, like, but I've lost this much. Like, heck yes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
How was that for you?
It went really well. That was like my momentum push. That first month I lost just over 17 and a half pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I started at just over 276 pounds, and I dropped, like I said, it was just over 17 and a half, just that first month alone. So,
and how tall are you?
What's that?
How tall are you?
I'm 5'7".
5'7", okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it just kind of pushed me forward, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to give up all that hard work, all of that dedication. Like, it's hard to say no to your favorite snacks,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Except on Carb Conscience, fruit snacks are not that many points. You know what I mean? As you're finding it. Because I remember for myself when I first did it, because we have our oldest is 6 and our youngest is 4. And I remember the first time I lost weight in 2016, not with iTrackBites, but doing Points Plus, it was always like not thinking I can have it. But then when I actually scanned it, I'm like, oh my God, 4 points. Like some people are thinking, oh yes, no, that's very high, all that stuff. But I'm like, man, but that's like, I now can eat it with my kids. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
they're all the time like, Mommy, Daddy, have a snack with me. You know what I mean? And there's so many times that you have to say no, like, no, it's fine, it's fine. But then really you need to just do it.
I completely agree. Kind of where my mind was at too is when you first start, right? You look at your points and you're like, I'm never going to be full. There's no way this is all that I get, So in the beginning, you're kind of timid, if you will, and you only want to use your points on things that's going to work, or at least that's how I was.
Yeah.
But now I'm to a point, my sister and niece are here visiting, so I'm able to save like a huge pillow of points so I can have popcorn and cookies and whatever with them as well and still be 100% on track.
Wow. No, I love that so much, honestly. Yeah. So you're pretty much, so it's taking you about 2 years to get down the 80 pounds or 70 or 80 pounds, right? Is that how it is? Because you said you started about 2 years ago?
Right. Yeah. I went from 276.6 to 200 my first year. And that's when we were trying to get the diagnosis, and I went up another 20, and I kind of just bounced through there getting all of that.
Yeah. That, to me, that kind of gives hope to everybody out here that's on iTrackBites, especially if you're a first-time user. Not everybody loses. You're not going to, when you see people lose 70, 80 pounds, a lot of people don't realize that, like, it has taken me 2 years to lose it, or it has taken me X amount of months or times to lose it. And I feel like probably for you, going from that highest weight all the way down to your lowest and it really taking that long, one, you've enjoyed the journey, and two, you've been slow and steady, which is kind of I always say this, your stomach shrinks. So like, you have a big stomach, like the inside stomach. And so like you said, you're so focused on, is it going to make me full? Am I going to stay full? I'm always just eating this, to where it's like, then when your stomach shrinks really fast in like 2 or 3 months, you know what I mean? Then that's when it's like, oh God. And then when you overdo it, then that's when all that bad stuff happens. But it's like slow and steady. Your body is adjusting to losing that point every 2 or 3 weeks or every month, blah, 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 to get back down there. So, no, that's awesome. All this that you've been saying is like really hitting home, because it is, and I love that. I don't love that it's taking you that long to lose it, but I love that you're so sincere about it. That like, no, it's taking me 2 years to lose it. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, nope, did it in 6 months. Here we go.
Yeah, it's there's just so many different stories and journeys and different things that people are going through. That's why choosing a lifestyle versus a diet, I think, is so important. And iTrackBites really just make that so simple. I mean, my mom, just for instance, she lost about 100 pounds, and I want to say like 14, 15 months.
Yeah.
So I through a piece of time where I'm like, I should be at goal right now. What is happening? What am I doing? Like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But that was a good lesson too, because you don't compare yourself to anyone but who you were yesterday.
Yes, and everybody's body is so different. It's so crazy, so crazy. So how was besides your diagnosis that you got, how was the journey for 2 years, all the way up until that point? Like, what did it look like for you? You know what I mean? Like, was there ups and downs? Were you steady loss? Were you like, oh, I went through some periods of time where I stalled, yada, yada?
So I want to say, I think it's like around 5 months in, maybe 6 months, I hit a 7-week plateau. And
oh, wow.
That was super frustrating because, usually that happens like when you're closer to goal.
Yeah.
But it eventually broke, and it literally fell off so quickly. Like, my average went from like 2.2 pounds a week down to like 8 ounces, I think it was. And I lost it so quickly that my average went right back up like nothing ever happened.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. The diligence is definitely key. And then, of course, I got in my way a few times. I still really love candy. And, um, so there's times where I just went off the deep end and I just had all the candy. And then the next day, it's like, oh man, why did I do that to myself? Like, what's going on,
Yeah.
Sometimes it was hard to get right back on the wagon, especially when you're dealing with other health issues and you have so many other things. You're like, well, it's really just a lot easier just to go eat what I want and I'll deal with it later. But, it's just a constant telling yourself, you worked so hard for this. Don't allow yourself to go backwards. Don't be responsible.
No, yeah, that's awesome. So like when you hit that 7-week plateau, I know a lot of people are probably wondering and are going to ask, what was that plateau like for you? So what was the 7 weeks like? Was it, did you just continue to just do everything that you knew what to do? You had all the tools and you just did it for 7 weeks? Did you try something out? You know what I mean? A lot of people divvy up their weeklies differently to try to get your body kind of tricked? How was that for you for those 7 weeks?
I was extremely frustrated and overwhelmed. So I was looking for anything that I could do that would make it better. Ultimately, I tried to up my weeklies by just I don't normally dip into those. I save those for emergencies, if you will. And same with my activity points. So to dip into that was kind of a mind trip because I'm not used to that. And it just didn't really do anything. So then I went the other way. I'm like, well, maybe I'll have 3 points left over for 3 days of the week versus all of them every day. And that, like I said, that was only a week of that. And I didn't notice a change. So I just was continuing to eat exactly how I should. I did try an at-home exercise, dance kind of thing for just 30 minutes. I hated it. So I stopped that. And then, it just eventually, I think it was the following week after that dance thing. I'm like, I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Everything's going to be fine. And eventually it did break. And I remember when it first broke, I lost 1.5 pounds and I bawled. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome because I know that can make or break people. Honestly, it can. Yeah. And so congrats to you on that. So now that you've hit your plateau, so let's talk about kind of your everyday routine. What's it like? So, and you probably have figured this out, when you first started, this is how I ate. This is how I divvied up my points. This is why I did that. Now that you've been so long into it, your probably habits have changed and how you view food and what you eat and et cetera. How was that from the very beginning? What was your meals like food wise in the beginning to what they are now? Have they changed at all? Because I know for a lot of people, it's, you try to then figure out okay, what can I kind of do to myself? You know what I mean? Maybe kind of, instead of having the whole carb of the pasta, let me go whole grain, stuff like that. How is that for you?
So from when I started to now, the differences you mean?
Yeah.
So it first started, but like I said, I didn't go shopping. I didn't have a trip or anything. I just had what I had. And I think I ate a lot of egg salad because that was really safe. And then there in the beginning, I did buy fat-free dairy, sugar-free other things, wherever I could. And eventually I'm just I really miss super melty cheese. I really
real cheese. Yes, girl.
I was having 6 to 8 ounces of meat for dinner and then my veggies and a cup of pasta. I was not going to go hungry,
Yeah.
And now it's much smaller. Normally it's about 4 ounces of meat for dinner. I have about half a cup of whatever the starch is, and then my vegetables. My breakfast kind of goes in spurts. Sometimes it's just fruit. Sometimes I just get on a Fruity Pebble kick or eggs and And then lunch is just whatever it's easiest. Usually it's dinner leftovers from the night before.
Uh-huh.
Or I really love chili cheese fries. Those are amazing.
Yeah.
Just a plain sandwich and chips, just whatever's easy and delicious.
So just easy. Like, do you have any staples? You know what I mean? Kind of like, what's some staples you have for your journey for eating wise? You know what I mean? Like, what do you always, like, when you go grocery shopping, you're like, I have this weekly, like, on hand.
I have rice. I have eggs I never run out of eggs. I drink a lot of sweet tea. Of course, I use a sweetener instead of actual sugar. That's the only thing I substitute. I also, I love Colby Jack cheese, so I keep that on hand. What else? We have spaghetti. We have butter chicken, roast or French dip. It's just kind of just whatever sounds good for that week. But definitely my go-to staples it's going to be the rice, the eggs, the cheese. And of course I always have some type of protein.
Yeah. And you know what? In my journey, I never ate rice. It's one thing I never think about eating rice. Like, I've never had rice in my journey at all. And I don't know why. Now that you say that, it kind of sounds good.
Right?
Yeah. So now that you've lost all the weight, what kind of has your perspective happened? You know what I mean? Like, what's your outlook on life? Of course, with your family, to be healthy for your children, to be there longer for your husband and all that stuff. But like, what keeps you going? Like, what is your outlook on it all with weight loss in general with you?
What it revealed is that I'm worth it.
Yes.
I didn't realize how unhappy I was with myself. There's days where I'd look at myself and like, oh, I look really good. And I thought those days were more, but realistically looking back, those days were very few. And, my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner. I didn't allow myself that grace to get through that learning curve, get through that habit change, and be where I'm at now. I'm literally the smallest I've ever been in my weight conscious life. My confidence is through the roof. I love to go shopping now. I love to go shopping. And I wasn't necessarily very nice when I would beforehand because I don't, that's just not fun sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you get to look at new clothes and all of that stuff, and to be able to run with my kids, that I used to, just kind of hang back and just watch. But now I'm right there on the playground with them and they love it. So their smiles are really what pushes me. Like, I did the right thing. This is where.
Yeah. How is the constant support you're getting from your husband?
He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. He doesn't do points with me. Obviously my kids don't either, but the way I look at it is that everyone's going to benefit from this way of life. I don't make multiple meals. I don't do anything like that. So we all just kind of eat the same thing. And, if he goes to get himself a snack, he'll get me some fruit and some fat-free whipped cream, for instance, or light whipped cream. And it's just perfect. He knows my habits and he knows what I like. And that's what's available for me. Like, for my birthday, instead of getting me my favorite candies.
Sorry, that was my phone. No, I love that and you know what I love the most that you said was that you don't cook separately. I feel like there is so many people, to me, that's when it's a diet. That is totally a diet. That's a diet move. And I'm sorry, there's a lot of people out there that do that. And it's no shame in their game to do it. But to me, the way I look at it is that puts something in especially with young kids. We do have but me and you both have young kids to where it's like, you want to eat the same thing they do. It's the whole thing with carb conscious or just points in general with us is you have to be in portion control. That's where it literally is. You can eat whatever you want. Nothing is off limits. You just have to know how to do it and how to work it in your day. And I feel like you show your kids more things of knowing that it's not a good food and a bad food type things. It's when is it appropriate to have it in your everyday life, and how do you choose to eat it, type thing. Because then you're probably finding the more realistic you are for your family and for your children, you're not making a scene going out for dinner. You know what I mean? Like if, because like with me, I've said this multiple times, me and my wife, because we count, carb conscience, is we go out to dinner with our family, and it's always about, with my kids, of being like, my son, he's 6.5, and he'll be like, how many points is that, Dad? And I'm like, oh my gosh, have I really, like, me and my wife always has to focus on that and be like, are we really making it seem like that with our kids? You know what I mean? Like, how is it with your kids, with you,
I feel like it's just their everyday life. They were so little. My son, let's see, he was about 3. My daughter was only 1. So that's just kind of all they know, is that I just put it in before I eat. And I've been doing it for so long now, it's second nature. I've got it down like that. I already know what I'm going to order. Like, I have all of that down. So it's not a big scene. And even at home, it's healthy to know your portions. I want them to have a great relationship with food, because mine was like a reward. You've had a rough day, you deserve this,
Yeah.
So we, I want them to have that healthy relationship and grow up knowing that, this is okay. And yeah, sure, you can have the cake, but not for breakfast.
Make sure it fits. Make sure it fits in your points.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Love that so much. So pretty much you are just down packed. That's probably the way that you've been so successful, is that you kind of remind me of a repetitive person. Like, what works that week will probably work the next week, all that stuff. Instead of being like, I have to get everything brand new. And that kind of like how you said in the very beginning, you didn't go out and rid everything out of your cupboard and you went to Aldi's or wherever and you completely bought everything new. You're just like, listen, I'm either going to do this and I can eat raviolis if I have to, SpaghettiOs, you know what I mean? Because who doesn't have that with the kids? Been there, done that, you know what I mean? That probably makes it a way of life for you, of just being like, hey, it's real life. It's real life. You know what I mean? I'm not getting the low-calorie bread. We have white bread because my kids love white bread. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Yeah. Love that so much. So you were saying, like, before, your weight loss was strictly just tracking bites, points, and doing all that stuff. Have you ever incorporated exercise at all? Like any type of thing from the beginning to where you are now?
Yes. So like I said, I had that one couple day thing with at home. And then I was at about 216 and I got myself down, like, this is again going back and forth with that 20 pounds.
Yeah.
So I got myself back to 216 and then I went back down to 205 and I was there for a few months. And in that few months, I'm like, I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to weight lift. I'm going to tone my arms, my legs, the whole thing. Uh-huh. And that was going great. But I still wasn't losing. So I did make an appointment with my doctor and I'm like, look, I have to get to goal. What can I do? And he says, I want you to do weights. I want you to do that. He said, but hold on. He said, up your cardio. So I up my cardio and I go every single day that I possibly can for an hour. That's it. And then I just had the rest of the day to myself. And it's nudged me past that 200 down to the 191 where I am now.
Okay. So right now you go to the. So right now you do about an hour in the gym a day. Mm-hmm. Okay. How is that with like children? You know what I mean? Like, are you doing it when you know what I mean? Because your kids are old. They're not in school. Are any of them in school?
My son just started kindergarten, and he hasn't called kindergarten. Yeah. So that part, it varies day to day. It's about to become a little bit more consistent, but I also watch one of our friends' daughters during the day, so she'll get there at about 7:30. My son wakes up at 6:30 for school, So in order for me to get that hour, I'm usually up by 4. I'm at the gym from 4:30 to 5:30, and then I have a half hour to, you know, come home, take my shower, do all that, and then I start my day. But
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that's not every day. I
Yeah.
don't enjoy getting up that early by any means. But, you know, our family time is in the evening.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just easier to just get it done, get it out of the way, and just not even think about it. Now, my husband is going on nights now, so it's going to be a little bit easier because he's just going to be here, you know. So that'd be a little bit easier to kind of sneak away in mid-morning versus dark.
Yeah, no, I get you. So what's your cardio like at the gym? You know what I mean?
So I love the treadmill, and I do it's HRC weight loss. It's basically just guided by my heart rate as far as how high I'm going or how fast I'm going. I usually set it at 3.5, and the treadmill does the rest of it. I don't even have to think about it. I just watch my show and go for it.
Yeah. So it's just treadmill is what you do normally for your cardio.
Yep.
Have you ever thought about do you think the question I have is, you know, you go to the gym, do you feel like if you had the treadmill at home, you probably wouldn't be as on it because you need that away time, like destination, right?
Yeah, there's been a few times where I've thought, I'm going to do an at-home thing. Like, this is going to be fine. I can do it whenever my kids are here, blah, blah. But just for me personally, I'm like, I'm at home. I don't want to do this. I'd rather just relax, you know? So yeah. I walk through the doors of the gym. I'm like, okay, we're here. Let's just do this. Let's get this done. But it helps that I enjoy it too. That's my me time. Yeah. If you will. That's, you know, that I watch my show. And, you know, I just kind of zone out for a little bit.
Yeah, no, awesome. So what exactly now that you're so close to goal, what does that look like? How long, number one, like, what is your short-term goal for the rest of 2020? And then what is the long-term? You know what I mean? You're about 10 to 11 pounds. That's totally doable by the end of the year. You know what I mean? Or a little bit over. So what exactly is your short-term goals for the rest of the year? Because those are short-term for the next 90 days. And then what's some things you want to see in 2021? I mean, besides the world hopefully going back to normal.
Right. My short-term goal is 180 is my goal. I would like to get to at least 175 just to have that cushion. Yeah. I'd prefer, to not go to 185. So I just want to be there. And for 2021, realistically, I just want to be in maintenance. I cannot imagine my life without tracking with iTrackBites. It's like my comfort blanket. It's literally everything. Like, I don't have that, and I feel like I'm really missing something important, you know? Yeah.
Do you find... Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do you find that, like, with the iTrackBites, do you find more support on the iTrackBites community than, like, real life support, as what I'll call it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of course, your family is supportive of you and stuff like that, but do you have other people in your life besides your husband, mom, stuff like that? Or, like, have you found our iTrackBites community to be like, this is what's really pushing you? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The iTrackBites community is actually pretty new to me. I started an Instagram, I want to say, like, I don't know, about a year ago-ish. Yeah. That is kind of where I broke out into the social media thing there and really connecting with iTrackBites. Before that, my mom had made a page, and that was where we were getting, like, recipes and stuff. So now I'm, trying to combine both of them because there's so many hints and tricks and things like iTrackBites can offer. Mm-hmm. And then, but I mean, it also has recipes too. So it's just kind of using both tools to bring everything together.
Oh, gotcha. So you said your mom has a kind of Facebook page. Is that what it is? Mm-hmm. What's that? What's it called? Is it like a public page?
Yes. It's Bernie and Judy Living and Losing with Points. It's just a bunch of real life stories, and we try to celebrate all of the non-scale victories, the scale victories, anything good. I also think that's super important. Like, you can't just be like, no, I'll celebrate at goal. You have to celebrate those milestones. This is a journey, it's not a sprint.
Oh, I love that. So what is since you're so close and your 2021 is to get into maintenance, what are some kind of things you hope to find with maintenance that it'll bring to your life? And then what are some things that you're kind of like, is there anything making you nervous about going to maintenance? 2 questions.
I'll start the nervous one. The one that makes me nervous is I don't want to gain. I know that I know how to go back down, but I don't even want to come across that, which is why I want to do the 175 and just go through there. I hit 180. I'm still at goal, but I need to start figuring it out and chill out. But as far as the other part, like looking forward to things, I'm looking forward to starting weights again. I'm looking forward to just toning up. I feel like it's going to be such a different world because my mind is in such a big weight loss mode.
Yeah.
Has been for the past, 2.5 years. So that also is kind of scary in a way because the whole thing is changing. Yes, you're still counting points, but now you've got to figure out how to keep yourself in that window.
Yeah.
Versus, praying that the scale is going to go down. So that's a little trippy.
Yeah. I think the number one thing you'll probably find for the iTrackBites people that have been at goal for so long that I have gotten advice from is that go with what your body wants. You know what I mean? So don't beat yourself up when you get to 175, but your body continues to want to be at 182. If your body will tell you what it needs to be like. And that you're smart enough to know that. But I love this. Like, it's so cool that you're so close to goal. Well, the last member I had on here was so close to goal too. And it's like, you guys are going to be posting in 2021 how you've made it to maintenance. And I'm so excited for that because there's so many people that are either just starting or struggling to where they see that it takes hard work and dedication, yes, but live your life. You know what I mean? Yeah. Have the cake. Have the cake. Like, when you go to Chili's, eat the chips and salsa. I'm sorry. Like, you're not going to Chili's every single day.
Yeah.
Type thing. So real quick, before we get off, one more thing I wanted to ask you was, with your eating habits, like with your points and stuff, how are you on eating out? I mean, that's usually the number one thing. I feel like so many people, when they start iTrackBites or carb conscious, they're like, oh, I need to make everything at home and I need to do this and do that. And it's like, sometimes that's not real life. Sometimes it's me leaving work at 6 o'clock instead of 4:30 and my wife's like, bring home Pizza Hut. Like, let's be real, right?
Yep. I completely get that one. We used to eat out like every single day, constantly. We were always eating out. So that part did change, but we did cut out restaurants altogether. So when I was talking about using my weeklies for emergencies, that was those days. Like, this day is so hard. I'm not cooking. We're getting pizza. We're done. So like if it's a spur of the moment kind of thing, I will dip into my weeklies, but I will still try and get myself where I need to be. If it's I can plan for, I'm looking up that menu online. Depending on what is there. Like if iTrackBites doesn't have it in the restaurant thing, for instance, like our little local cafe, then I'll go on there and I'll say, okay, well, I need some grilled ham, egg, fruit, something to that effect. Olive Garden, I just look at the database. Before I even go, I know what I'm getting, and then I can plan the rest of my day accordingly while I'm at home.
Love it. So what's it like when I'm guessing you've probably, how are you on, I know a lot of people have trouble with, they go out to eat or they just have an off day. They end up using all their weeklies, but it's like the second day in, let's be real, we've all done it a time or two, to where it's like you got another 4 days to go, and if you use your weeklies more, it's negative. Like, did that happen to you? What pushed you to keep going? You know what I mean? Or did you consistently like, no, you know what? I have 49 weeklies. I'm going to try to stick in with that. You know what I mean? Did you ever go over to the negatives? Did you ever have a day where you didn't track in the 2.5 years? You know what I mean? How did that happen for you?
Yeah, like I was saying, like, I really like candy, and there are some times where I'm like, I don't even care today. It's like, I'm just going to do whatever I want. And yeah, unfortunately, there were days that I didn't track. It wasn't, I don't know. There were days I didn't track. There were days that I overate. There were times where it would be like 2 weeks and I wasn't doing it. So I'm sure that I absolutely went into the negatives. As far as week and activity goes, absolutely. The thing that keeps me going, though, is I weigh every single day. And I don't do that because I'm looking for a weight loss every day. I do it because I need to know what my body is, what my fluctuations are. I need to understand how my body works so that when I do start doing something like that and I'm not tracking, but I'm seeing that go up, 6 pounds or something, yes, it's going to be a lot of water weight. You're not going to gain 6 pounds in like overnight, but I know how my body works. I know how that is. So I know when I need to nip it in the bud and knock it off, or, it's okay. Like, you had a splurge day. Today's a new day. Let's continue. It's just the saying, like, giving up your whole entire week because you had one bad day is like slashing 3 of your tires because you got one flat,
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good analogy, honestly. That's good advice. I'm going to tell my wife that. All right. Well, it is about 9:20, about to come off. I always ask every single guest that we have who I interview 2 simple questions, but that really hit home. Number 1 is, what is something that you wish that somebody would have told you from the very beginning of your journey? And then number 2, what is something that if somebody here tonight, because everybody watches the replay, so there's going to be thousands and thousands of people on Facebook and all that watch this replay. What is something, if this was the first time that they watched an iTrackBites live and they just joined iTrackBites, that you want to tell them? So the first one is, what is something that you wish that somebody would have told you from the very beginning, at the very beginning? And then what's that advice to somebody new that you want to tell them?
Oh, that's a good one.
This is where it gets teary-eyed, honestly, because then it's kind of like, oh, okay.
It's just such a road to travel. Okay, so something that I wish someone would have told me. That's a good question. I think, maybe they kind of go in hand for me, because I did have someone really close to me with my mom, and the things that she told me that I still carry through to this day is put yourself on a schedule. Allow yourself that time for your body to also get used to it, so that you're not thinking about the snacks all the time, not thinking about everything else that deals with food. At this time you're going to eat. And I think that's just been the most beneficial thing for me. For anyone that would message me, or like my friends in, my personal life, I say the same thing. I'm like, the most important thing you can do is that your body gets to know when you're supposed to eat, and it just makes it a little bit easier. It's not so, I don't know. I feel like my thoughts revolved around food constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of remove that and not be afraid of, I have to have a snack. And if you do want a snack, that's fine. Just schedule that in to your life, how it works for you. I guess the other thing would be protein. Make sure that you're having protein. That's the main part. And then your veggies, and then your carbs. Keep yourself full. Feel full. I think those are the 2 things. I don't know that. I don't know. I think those are just the 2 most important things to me that I've at least learned on the journey, and that I'm very thankful that I at least had the schedule advice with my mom.
Yeah. No, that's good, the scheduling. I feel like so many people, especially if you have a very busy life, you need to figure out, like, it's kind of like because I run a facility I have like 30, 40 employees. And the one thing a lot of people, when it gets crazy at work or crazy with residents, is like they don't get that break and they'll work through it and all that stuff. And it's kind of like, no, schedule it. So like when I tell you, I want you need to take your break at 6 o'clock, that means it can wait. Take your break at 6 o'clock because you're going to come back refreshed and renew. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the same way I feel like with the scheduling that you're talking about is like, make time for it. Know that, hey, this is what I'm scheduling, my eating, what I'm putting in my lunchbox, all that stuff. Do that because one, you're worth it, but your body's going to get used to it and you're going to be refreshed. You're not going to be like making those bad decisions to where it's like you haven't ate. It's now 2 hours past when you normally do. And then you're just like, I'm just going to eat whatever I can don't care.
Exactly. My husband was doing it for a little while with me, and I said the same thing. I said, just point everything out already for tomorrow. You already have everything packed. He's an assistant manager at Walmart, so he's just constantly on the go. He doesn't ever stop. But I'm like, just 5 minutes. If you would just take 5 minutes, have your breakfast, and then continue on, then that'll get you lunch. And then you're not stopping at the deli on your way back to the break room. Because you already have what you need and you're not starving, you can make it to the back of the store.
Oh yeah.
Two, the quickest thing for me to grab that smells good, you betcha.
Oh yeah. No, I wouldn't doubt it. Because I go to the deli sometimes and Walmart, at Super Walmart, and they got some good stuff. Let's be real. Yeah.
Like stocking it. I mean, I love all of that. I really do. But just make time for you. Keep going. Don't give up on you. Like, you deserve to reach your goals,
Oh, love that. Well, thank you, Judy, for hopping on here tonight. I appreciate it so much. I'm so glad that we got to know you a little bit more and know about your journey. And I'm looking forward to 2021 to see you reach goal and all that. So if you need anything from us, from iTrackBites or whatever, just reach out to me, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful night.
You're welcome. You too. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that was Judy from Judy Mallman, I believe. Judy Mallman. Go ahead and find her on Instagram. And we are excited that she was here with us tonight and that she was able to inspire us for our own journeys. So if this is your first time here on iTrackBites, go ahead. You can go to our video archive on Facebook and watch the other iTrackBites live meetings. We do this every single Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next live and to seeing everybody. And yeah, it was just a really great informational night with her journey. And it really is knowing that it could take up to 2 years. And that's where you guys need to focus on that. It's not always going to be a wham, bam, we got it going, I'm at goal. Don't get discouraged if it takes you a while, Always think about, don't get discouraged if it's 1 pound a week, that's 52 pounds a year. If you do have 100 and something pounds, that could be 2 pounds, or that could take you over 2 years to get to. Don't give up. You're worth it. Everybody is worth it. And so like I said, my name is Jordan Clyde from Clyde's Daily Life. And so happy to have you guys on here tonight. And I will see you guys next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you need anything, go ahead and find me over on Clyde's Daily Life.